Well, guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. Over the next few weeks in patch 9.2, our classes are about to unlock their second legendary effect, and having access to 2 legendaries will open up a lot more possibilities to our favorite playstyles. The second legendary power is called Unity, and it will always take the shape of your current Covenant's legendary bonus. And this makes your Covenant choice a lot more impactful. And I got a lot of messages from you guys asking me which double legendary combinations are likely to be the strongest for every single class in PvP for the patch 9.2. So in this video, I decided to do some research and come up with a list of some of the strongest possible combinations that you may see from every single class in PvP of Season 3. However, this list is by no means finalized. We're expecting major class changes and tuning over the next few weeks. This is just a list of likely strong combinations before any class changes or tuning. So take this list very lightly, and please don't use it to determine your next overpowered main for the new arena season. In the end, you should just always play the class you enjoy the most. But right before we get into this list, most of you guys watching this videos are still not subscribed, and if you're watching this video anyway, you might as well subscribe as well as hit the bell, especially if you want to get more patch 9.2 updates, content, and guides, and potentially future WoW expansion announcements. We gotta do this video off alphabetically, starting off with the class of Death Knight. Sadly for Death Knights, the only viable and powerful Covenant option they have is the Necrolord, but at least the legendary is quite good, offering a bomb limb and extra debuff on a target, making you even burstier in big cleave situations. This could allow you possibly an opportunity to leverage that extra bonus damage with a defensive legendary, like if magic damage survivability is your #1 priority. Death Knights are looking to pair Absolute Zero and the A-Bomb Limb legendary together for excellent control and fantastic cleave damage, though with A-Bomb Limb clawing enemies, making them more vulnerable to your attacks. You could play Koltira's Favor for even extra burst damage out of your obliterates. For Unholy Death Knight, you will likely run Necrolord together with Frenzied Monstrosity, though there's recently been an opportunity for Death's Certainty legendary to shine, together with the A-Bomb Limb debuff and the buffed Embrace Death legendary, which further empowers your Death Call damage when it's a Sudden Doom free proc. Could give Unholy Death Knights a little bit more bursty rotation in the patch 9.2 PvP. And finally, there's an experimental playstyle for Frost Death Knights as a Night Fae. And yes, you heard me correctly. If you play the PvP talent of Dead of Winter, your Remorseless Winter can now stun multiple targets. So you'll group enemies together, blind them, and stun them with Remorseless. Drop down Night Fae Death's Due, which will allow your Obliterate to cleave a secondary target. Together with the legendary of Pheromones, standing in your Death's Due increases your haste by 15%. But also, enemies standing in your Death's Due have a chance to cower in place, which adds an extra layer of crowd control outside of his stun blind combination. Like I said, a very experimental build for players to test and try in the new season, but this could potentially give Frost Death Knights a bit of Covenant variety for the first time for PvP in patch 9.2. For the next class, we have the Demon Hunter, but just like the Death Knight, the Demon Hunter really likes the Necrolord Covenant. It offers a fair amount of defensive benefits as you get to slay a demon and consume its soul for extra health, but also the damage amp it provides you is quite fantastic for PvP. Unless there is some class tuning, it is unlikely that Demon Hunters will drop a Necrolord in the future. It is also highly likely they won't be swapping out of Burning Wound legendary. You may see some Demon Hunters try Chaos Theory, since it has some synergy with your tier set bonus, which will be usable in PvP, but it is expected the Burning Wound will continue being the best possible option for them for damage in the next season. The next class on the list is the Druid. For Druids, it seems that any Covenant is viable, depending on your gameplay. Kyrian and Night Fae all have very strong Covenant legendaries to offer, and while the Necrolord legendary isn't amazing, the base ability is perfect for the PvP encounters. All specs of Druids might find themselves running the Natural Order's Will legendary, which gives them far more survivability, especially with the recent Frenzied Regen nerfs. For many balanced druids, you will likely see the time-worn Dreambinder paired together with just about any Covenant legendary for the base damage output. Although if you pair Circle of Life and Death together with Necrolord, it could give you a lot of dot rot potential in big group PvP situations like RBGs and 3v3s. For Feral Druids, you are either likely to use the Drought or Deep Focus or Eye of Fearful Symmetry together with whatever Covenant you're playing and the Covenant Legendary as your base damage choice. However, just like with Balanced Druids, Circle of Life together with the Necro Covenant could allow for some big bleed spread pressure and rotting down multiple enemies at once. For Restoration Druid, you will likely still play Verdant Effusion plus your Covenant of choice, whether it is Carrion, Nightfey, or Necrolord. However, you may be able to play Oath of the Elder Druid together with a 1-minute Convoke from the Nightfey legendary to offer a little bit extra burst damage as a Restoration Druid in either Feral Affinity, bleeding, clawing at the target and biting, or from range in Balance Affinity, Star Surging your targets down. The next class on the list is the Hunter. When it comes to Hunters, the strongest Covenant legendary will be from the Venthyr Covenant and will likely to be the popular choice, with the Necrolord slightly behind it but still usable, especially when you're looking for more defensive gameplay with Fleshcraft, and the Kyrian, while not super popular, marksmanship hunters generally do favor that Covenant. But no matter what Covenant you play, all three specs of Hunter will likely be using the Craven Stratagem Legendary. Paired together with any Covenant Lego, you will have a mix of defensive option from your main legendary, and the offensive that comes from your Covenant choice. And this is likely to be the best legendary combination for both Beast Mastery and Survival, with Marksmanship getting the opportunity to pair a Surging Shots legendary together with a Covenant legendary of their choice for even more damage output. Next, we have the class of Mages. Mages have a lot of Covenant options. From the Venthyr, Necrolord, Kyrian, or even the Nightfey, there's a lot of viable choices. All of the Covenant legendaries seek to amp up their damage or utility in one way or another, which means lots of opportunities playing a mage in the next season. While mages no longer really play with the Triune Ward legendary, it is still useful if enemy team has the ability to strip you off of your beneficial effects. Arcane Mages are going to pair Arcane Bombardment with another legendary of their choice, whatever Covenant they end up playing. Frost Mages get the choice of Slick Eyes or Disciplinary Command together with any Covenant they choose to play with. Kyrian being probably a burstier option paired well with a Disciplinary, but Necrolord being a more powerful option together with Slick Ice and Ice Form. Fire Mages are unlikely to drop Disciplinary Command plus whatever Covenant they feel like playing that day, because it is a very powerful explosive combination. Then we have the class of Monks, and for now, unless we see more Covenant class tuning, the Necrolord legendary effect seems to be the best choice for Monks for PvP going forward. Mistweaver Monk is likely to pair Clouded Focus with the Necrolord Covenant as the strong healing combination, though with Mistweavers being kind of squishy, it is possible to see them in the future play more Escape from Reality for even more disappearing acts in 9.2. For Windwalker Monk, not a lot is expected to change. Don't be surprised if you're still playing Kiefer's Skyreach with the Necrolord, unless there's more class tuning in the future. Then we have the class of Paladin. The Kyrian and the Necrolord Covenant legendaries seems to be like the strongest choices going forward, with a slight potential of the Nightfey making a resurgence with some cheesy bursts from time to time. Both specs can still use Reign of Endless Kings to survive a massive burst in the next season. A Holy Paladin Shock Barrier plus whatever Covenant you choose might be the best choice for healing going forward. And for Retribution, Final Verdict seems to be still the best choice for overall damage. Then we have the class of Priest. Your Covenant choices as a Priest will be mostly determined by the spec that you choose to play, as Night Fae, Venthyr, Kyrian, and Necrolord are all generally good, though some have better synergies with certain specs. The number one legendary that's probably the best across all three specs of Priest will be Sefu's Proclamation. Priest as a class is very likely to use their Covenant's legendary effect, and since we're getting Covenant legendaries basically for free, Sefu's will be likely a very strong legendary that's passive but also very useful within PvP. For the spec of Discipline, the legendary of the Penitent one might become really good, especially if you pair it together with the Venthyr Covenant. The extra burstiness of your penance with the extra crit from the Venthyr, plus with the tier sets that offers you even more damage procs, could create some big damage situations and atonement healing for Disc Priest going forward. Holy Priest is likely to stick around with Harmonious Apparatus together with the Covenant of their choice as the basic heal build double legendary combo, though Return of the Archbishop plus a Covenant legendary still gives him an opportunity to cast some B-reses. Blizzard did fix the PvP talent of Spirit of the Redeemer. This is why Priest will run the Archbishop legendary so they don't die once Spirit of the Redeemer PvP talent is over. And for the spec of Shadow, Measured Contemplation plus your legendary Covenant choice could give you a mix of support for group gameplay plus the damage that comes from your Covenant legendary effect. For most Shadow Priests, Sefu's plus your Covenant legendary will be a good choice going forward for damage, though if you don't want to play Sefu's, you could swap it out for Shadow Flame Prism as well. The next class on the list is the Rogue. For Rogues, all Covenant legendaries are viable, however, some synergize better with certain specs. The two legendaries that all three specs might find useful will be Mark of the Master Assassin for the opener and the vanish crit windows for damage, or Invigorating Shadow Dust, which gives you cooldown reduction on many of your offensive, defensive, and crowd control abilities every time you land a vanish. For Assassination Rogues, the Dustwalker's legendary is quite valuable, giving you more opportunities for Vendetta Burst, especially well paired with the 4-piece tier set. This legendary will pair with just about any Covenant legendary choice. Then you have the Lego of Doomblade, which amps up your envenom damage for every bleed on the target. So naturally, because of its interaction with bleeds, it'll pair better if you play the Necrolord Covenant. For the spec of Outlaw Rogue, the Greenskins Wicker's Pistol Shot Lego pairs really well with just about any Covenant you choose, likely to be Venthyr or Kyrian in the patch 9.2. Subtlety Rogues will likely end up running Master Assassin together with Kyrian, or potentially Finality with Kyrian for even extra bonus Eviscerate damage. Next we have the class of Shaman. The two primary Covenant legendaries looking strong right now are for the Venthyr and the Necrolord Covenant, though you could make an argument towards the Night Fae and even in some cases the Kyrian. For all the specs of Shaman, the Deep Tremor legendary that empowers your Earth Elemental with a bonus Earthquake is the one legendary that is seen used across all three specs. This one can be paired together with the Necrolord or the Venthyr Covenant. For the spec of Enhancement, Doom Winds and Venthyr is a very powerful combination that many Shamans have been playing as of recently. However, you could substitute it for the Witch Doctor's Wolfbone's legendary with whatever Covenant you choose, since this one is a bit more flexible in which combinations work best. For the spec of Elemental, you have a lot of legendaries to pick from the Elemental Equilibrium to the Skybreaker's legendary, the Deep Tremor, the Windspeaker's Lava Resurgence, as well as a self-heal legendary with Earthen Harmony. This gives you so many different legendaries to play with and adjust to different PvP situations. However, a vast majority of Elemental Shamans are still hard stuck with Necrolord, and that's likely to be their best Covenant going forward. The majority of Restoration Shamans will opt in to run Deep Tremor with whatever Covenant legendary they want to, though if healing is more of a prerogative, Earthen Harmony with the Earth Shield healing ends up being a better choice. For Restoration, there's a little bit more flexibility in the Covenants that you run, but generally Necrolord is still your strongest pick. Then we have the class of Warlock, and for Warlocks going forward, it seems that the Night Fae and the Necrolord Covenant are the strongest PvP choices, with the Venthyr and the Kyrian legendaries severely behind unless we see some further class tuning. Affliction Warlock best pairs with the Night Fae Covenant legendary, which can be combined together with either Sacrolash's Dark Strike for the damage or potentially Claw of Endereth for the drain life healing. Destruction will either run the Madness of Ajakir with the tier set for bigger, beefier Chaos Bolts as a Necrolord or Night Fae, or potentially go all in on the beefy Incinerates, maybe with the Ord legendary. Demonology will either play Wolfred's legendary as a Night Fae or a Necrolord, or go all in on Necro with the Bale Spider legendary, amping up the damage of your Demon Bolt to such intense degree. Then finally, we have the class of Warrior, and for Warriors, the Necrolord Covenant and the Kyrian right now are the strongest, with Necrolord Banner primarily being the reason why you run it, or the Kyrian Legendary amping up that spear damage and crit bonus. The Night Fae and the Venthyr can work, but are just not as popular as of right now until we see further tuning. Because Necrolord and Kyrian are default strong, you can play legendaries like Misshapen Mirror for more defensive group capabilities, or Leaper if mobility is going to be far more of a priority. As the arms spec of Warrior, if you want to focus on damage, Enduring Blow with your Covenant legendary of choice will be the best for the most damage increase. And for Fury, the Signet of Tormented Kings together with the Covenant legendary of your choosing will be the best damage-oriented option. And that's going to be my full list of possibly the strongest double legendary combinations we may see in Season 3 of the patch 9.2. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I want you to let me know in the comments below what do you think about this list. Also, let me know in the comments if there's a strong class double legendary combination for PvP that we missed that definitely should have been part of this video. If you guys enjoyed this list or found it informative, give this video a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And in the description of everything we post on the channel, there's a link to our community Discord. If you guys want to join it, let me know what you think about this video or hit me up directly. My DMs are always open. And if you watch these videos regularly, join the Discord to join our community. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.